My fellow travelers, happy anniversary, and happy anniversary to Hello Games for the 7th year of No Man's Sky's existence. And obviously, it's been a while since yours truly has uploaded a video. It's been a rather turbulent year for myself, but happy to be back. And as we're all just sort of sitting around waiting for the next big emoji drop and what is likely to be the next anniversary update for No Man's Sky, with a low-key ARG happening within the game and the community right now, the last big significant update about 4 months ago, all signs are pointing to a great end of the year for us and this game. So while we wait for all the fireworks to start, I'd like to talk about something that I love to joke about on Twitter a lot, but I've never actually made a video about. And that's around a very simple question: should No Man's Sky get a sequel? In this video, I'm going to talk about if it's even possible, what it could look like, and what I would like to see from a No Man's Sky sequel. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think a No Man's Sky sequel is possible? Do you even want one? Or are you one of those that believe that a sequel is not necessary? And I say that because I have a giant elephant sitting right next to me in this conversation, and I get this a lot on Twitter where folks will immediately say that No Man's Sky does not need a sequel. It could just continue to get the free updates that it does. But that's not what this video is about, is it? I think there's several reasons why No Man's Sky could use a sequel, probably mostly around the hardware limitations. We have higher attach rates for PlayStation 5s than we did a few years ago. Next-gen hardware is really pumping out. A Switch successor is on the way. Steam Decks and other handhelds are growing in popularity, and the PlayStation 5, or the PlayStation 4 rather, is quite old and outdated for technology. It already was for the current iteration of No Man's Sky. So aside from the many reasons why a sequel to No Man's Sky could exist, maybe we can just plant the flag on the idea that new hardware is definitely going to be more preferable for No Man's Sky and more hospitable for a sequel. Now, some of you already may know that Hello Games is already hard at work and has long been at work on their new intellectual property, of which has not yet been announced. The studio has grown in strength since it launched No Man's Sky 7 years ago, and I think it's doubled or maybe a little bit more than what was actually working on the game back in the day, which was, I think, about a dozen people at launch. And while we don't know just how many people are actually working on that new IP versus who is actually still around supporting No Man's Sky, I think it's probably fair to say that they've probably mostly moved over to whatever new game that they're cooking, which could probably be announced any month now. Hello Games has already directly stated that No Man's Sky would not be getting a sequel in the traditional sense at the very least, which is the major purpose of today's video, to talk about some of the precedent that we've already had with No Man's Sky and what I think could be possible. Yes, I do think it's possible that No Man's Sky could get a sequel. Heck, the new intellectual property could be a spiritual successor to what No Man's Sky has already done, for all we know. Hello Games' bread and butter is actually around procedural generation, which is why you have a game as big as No Man's Sky anyway. But what I really think is possible for No Man's Sky is not a traditional release of a sequel to No Man's Sky necessarily, but rather a sequel update. If you recall, and you've been hanging out with the No Man's Sky community since launch, you'll know that we have had several new iterations of updates for the game, and really they have been moving to a No Man's Sky 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0, which is the version we're currently headed towards, or already at, to be correct. This kind of thinking has me really in the mindset that we really could see a sequel of sorts to No Man's Sky, but really it really wouldn't be a brand new release, not in the traditional sense, but rather a sequel update. The update could simply just be called No Man's Sky 2, or a little bit kind of like how Overwatch did, rather poorly, I might add, or what Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is about to do for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is really a sequel in name, but a really pricey DLC. For kind of what's going on for the sequel for Modern Warfare 3. Hello Games could likely put out a giant, massive update for the game, call it No Man's Sky 2. All owners for the game could get it for free, or, and if I'm being honest here, let's just be honest, put it in the comments if you agree, for a price. And I'm thinking that Hello Games has earned quite enough of their goodwill back that they could fairly officially charge for update content, and people would pay it. It's been 7 years, haters. Move on already. And knowing that we've already mentioned some of the things that have been happening this year for No Man's Sky, it's been 4 months since the last larger-sized update for No Man's Sky. There's currently an ARG running for the game, a little lesser in scale than the previous Waking Titan from year 1 and year 2, and a whole lot of quiet time coming from the studio here. Something big is around the corner, and I can't wait to see what it is. Now, that goes to what would I like to see in a No Man's Sky theoretical sequel. One of my major problems with No Man's Sky over the years rumors that I've probably said in most of my update videos after the subsequent updates since launch, was that No Man's Sky has struggled every single year to fill the gaps that it has made for itself. No Man's Sky's 7-year life has really existed to be, here's a bunch of foundational updates with not a lot of structure built on top. While it left behind some of the luster that it had from back in the day, some of the sci-fi creativity and color and things like that. Probably a topic for another video. What I'm about to list is probably a little extreme, so, feel free to grill me in the comments if you disagree or if you do agree, but a sequel update would be something first to move on from last generation consoles. There is enough adaptability, like we mentioned earlier in the video, for new gen hardware and newer types of hardware, like an upcoming Switch successor and probably late next year. Microsoft is probably about to explode after it buys Activision, so you'll see a lot more Xboxes out there, I'd imagine. PlayStation 5s are doing very well, and yet one of the major things that could generally hold No Man's Sky back is the old hardware. It's time for No Man's Sky to really stretch its legs, and a lot of that hardware, like the SSDs and the fast memory and things like that, the graphical power, I would love to see a lot of bells and whistles and things come with those next-gen features. If you're going to focus on multiplayer, focus on multiplayer. The capacity is there, but there's almost no draw and practically no reason to play with other people. Give me a reason to. Give me planetary raids and dungeons and things like that. Reasons to actually want to party up with people other than to just exist together while we mine for minerals and things like that. It's not a very big draw. I want to see what's in between suns. Show me rogue planets. Show me tunnels that go all the way to the center of planets. Show me some of the most crazy, anomalous stuff that you can find planet size and in space. Get truly sci-fi with it. There's a whole lot of potential here that I would absolutely love for them to do. Shipbuilding has been my #1 request in No Man's Sky for time immemorial. There's so much happening in the universe of No Man's Sky right now that hasn't gone addressed. The center of the galaxy is practically useless. Put something there and something significant. The universe is supposed to end in 16 minutes or years or centuries or something. It doesn't even know. End it for our past gen friends. Let them have some incentive to finally move into the next generation. Give me more reason to build bases, to explore. Give me space combat that is completely unmatched in any other game at a scale that can't be touched. Give me a battle royale. I'm just kidding. Don't grill me in the comments. For God's sake, it's an old joke. Let me fly frigates. Look at the unmatched potential there. Let me have roguelike modes in your universe. If any one of you watching this video right now have never played FTL or Faster Than Light, which is one of the smallest but most awesomest indie games ever, there's a lot to learn from that game, Hello Games. You know it and I know it. So I do think a sequel could happen for No Man's Sky, and totally outside of the traditional sense. It wouldn't necessarily be a brand new release of No Man's Sky 2. They might re-release it in stores and things like that with a new box art. That would be pretty neat. But I'd like to hear from you in the comments section below. Tell me, do you think it is possible for No Man's Sky to get a sequel? Do you even want one? Is it not necessary? Do you want a battle royale? I'm kidding! Are you excited for whatever's around the corner, for whatever the studio's planning with this sort of low-key ARG that they're running? And while the studio is running without comms with the group currently, would love to hear more from you, and I would like to do more for you in the future. Of course, stay here in the LZ for more, and I will see you later.